Hello guys and welcome to today's Los Blancos podcast. Today is obviously the Villarreal review. Unfortunately we couldn't do this yesterday, but it is just me today. Let's get right into it then. And it ended 3-2 to Villarreal. It was a loss for us, and it was first of all I've got to say well done to Samuel Chukwueze. He absolutely put in a masterclass performance. He was fantastic. This is the guy who's been in La Liga for a couple of years now, and he's been really inconsistent, and he's shown that promise where you could see him becoming a top class winger, but he just couldn't take that step up, and he's just so inconsistent. But we always knew he had this ability, and we always knew he had this pace in behind, and he put in an absolute masterclass performance. And it's one that Nacho Fernandez will not be forgetting in a while, because he absolutely cooked Nacho. But let's talk about this performance, because there were some good bits in this. There were some good bits, we can't ignore that. But there were also some really poor bits from Carlo Ancelotti, from the team. And it just didn't look right at points as well. So, we went 1-0 up. It was the Asensio / Pau Torres own goal. Asensio crossed it. Pau Torres hit it into his own goal. And I thought Asensio during this match was quite good as well. I thought Asensio, overall, he played really well. I think, people do like to hate on Asensio, because why not? Because he sometimes does go missing at points, and he does ghost during some games. However, during this game, I think he played quite well. In that attacking midfield position, it's so clear to see he is not a winger. He is an attacking midfielder compared to a winger. He can play right wing, no problems, as he's showed in the last few years. But his best position is in that number 10 role, and he's shown that once again today. And on Saturday evening, and his ability to drive with the ball and get into space, find space for himself, create space for himself. It's something that I think we should explore a little bit more of. We've only got 3 months left with Marco Asensio. If we don't choose to renew his contract, let's see what happens with Marco Asensio. I would personally renew him, because it doesn't look like there are any serious rumours concerning an attacker. We've been talks about Kvaratskhelia because of El Chiringuito, talking about how Guti was his idol and stuff like that, but it's just not going to happen this summer, is it? Kvaratskhelia is going to be too expensive. Dealing with Napoli's really difficult. Same with someone like Victor Osimhen. The best solution I could find is maybe if we sign someone like Dusan Vlahovic or Richarlison in the summer, to back up Benzema. But this right now, apart from that, I don't think there are any attackers that are linked with us right now, let alone coming near to signing with us. So let's see what happens coming the summer, because I'm telling you right now, there is no way Mbappe signs this summer. It's just impossible. The relationship with PSG is done. PSG rejected 300 million with him for Mbappe with 1 year left on his contract. There's no way we are getting Mbappe done unless it's at the end of his contract. So people will obviously put the rumours with Mbappe, but it's just not going to happen. Never in this world is it going to happen that Mbappe signs for Real Madrid this summer. If it does happen, then yeah, fine, fair enough. Come at me all you want, but it's just not going to happen this summer. And so I think for that, I would give Asensio a 3-year contract, like we said on midweek last week after the El Clasico. I think Asensio is deserving on this contract, and if we are to pursue this 4-2-3-1 formation, I think him at 10 will be a really nice thing, because him and Rodrigo's switching of roles, it is so nice, and it's so hard to track. It's so tactically perfect. I think, for me, I would go for Asensio as number 10, and I would 100% keep him, for years to come. And I think he is deserving of that, especially with his service he's given to us as well over the years. So I think Asensio is deserving of that. And then after that, Villarreal pulled one back. Samuel Chukwueze absolutely sent Nacho to the shallow role and just absolutely sent it one way, then went back the other, and then slotted it past Thibaut. Thibaut had nothing. He couldn't do that. He couldn't deal with that one. It was just too difficult. And ultimately that one was a goal for Villarreal, and it was, I wouldn't say it was undeserving either, because Villarreal did create chances, and when Villarreal attacked, it was so obvious that we just didn't know what to do. We didn't know who to pick up. We didn't know who to mark. And I think a little bit of that has to come down to the fact that, we were playing more of a double pivot this game as well. I mean, this team is not used to that a little bit. They're not used to playing a double pivot. They're used to playing the single pivot and then just, building off of that. The fullbacks bombing forward and then the two centre-backs and then the single pivot. However, there's two defenders and you want that block-like defence. It's going to be difficult to deal with, isn't it? And Samuel Chukwueze, I mean, I think it should have been obvious to Carlo Ancelotti that Samuel Chukwueze was Villarreal's, main guy. He was their main attacker, main guy to attack our team, and that was so obvious to me that I just don't understand how Carlo Ancelotti just didn't pick that one up. He didn't understand that one, and he didn't realise that anything that Villarreal are going to do, that it's going to come down to Samuel Chukwueze. And then you look at Nacho's strengths, the players who he has succeeded against, this season and previous seasons. Nacho succeeded against Salah, and you look at Rafinha. Those are two inverted wingers who like to come onto their left foot and then try and shoot from there. That's the type of winger he likes to play against because he can cut inside and try and defend them on that way. But when it's an out and out direct winger like Samuel Chukwueze, like Ousmane Dembele, who he really struggles against because that pace, that change in pace as well, Nacho just can't deal with at this age. He's 33, just can't deal with that. And suddenly you look at it and you could have said, you play Camavinga, you avoid a lot of these goals. Maybe not the first one. The first one was just class from Chukwueze, but I reckon they could have avoided a lot of attacks if you had played Camavinga at left back today. And maybe if you would have played Alaba, I don't know. But it could have been avoided as well if you would have played Alaba left back. So let's see. I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, we can't see that now. But Chukwueze absolutely had fun against Nacho, and Nacho is going to be having this nightmarish performance replaying in his head for nights to come, because it wasn't a great performance at all from Nacho Fernandez, and he got absolutely rinsed back and forwards by Samuel Chukwueze. So that is a bit unfortunate for Nacho, but at the end of the day, that's football, isn't it? And it was just not prepared well by the coaching staff. And it's games like these where you say, do the coaching staff really do any video analysis of other teams? Because it seemed so obvious coming into the game that Samuel Chukwueze is going to be their only outlet where they can just get forward, progress the ball, and then finish off the chances, because Gerard Moreno is having injury problems from hell right now because he's just constantly getting injured. And then, the other outlets, you look at Alex Baena, who we will talk about later, obviously. Alex Baena, who's scoring quite a few goals this season, but isn't really contributing much other than that. I mean, he's a decent player, but he's nothing more than that. And then you look at that and elsewhere, and then you say, there's really not much in that Villarreal team apart from Samuel Chukwueze. And if you look at Chukwueze so far this season, he has got over 20 goals and assists. He is the danger man, and we didn't prepare for that. We assumed that Nacho could do it. He couldn't. He couldn't deal with the pace of Chukwueze, and Chukwueze absolutely cooked him. So, yeah, I mean, look on the other side as well. I mean, Lucas Vazquez, he wasn't a bad performance by Lucas Vazquez, but it was just a nothing performance. And in 2023, we look at the fullbacks, and the fullbacks starting a game against Villarreal, who you can consider a tougher side in La Liga. It's Nacho Fernandez and Lucas Vazquez. Nacho Fernandez is a centre-back who is playing left-back, and Lucas Vazquez is a right winger playing at right-back. Lucas Vazquez doesn't have the change in pace anymore. He doesn't have the quick speed that he used to. And suddenly you look at it and you say, what does Lucas Vazquez honestly bring us? I am one who loves Lucas Vazquez because of the years of service he's given to us. Players like that deserve to be, appreciated for all their efforts at Real Madrid. But it's just coming to the end now, and it's turning a bit. You don't want it to get to the point where it turns sour and Lucas Vazquez is causing us problems instead of actually being a useful player in our team. This is what happened to Marcelo. Marcelo stayed too long, and then suddenly that pace change absolutely ruined him. He was absolutely ruined by the end of his Real Madrid career because quick, pacey wingers absolutely took advantage of his lack of positioning, and suddenly, the stuff that he could get away with when he was in his mid-20s, he couldn't get away with anymore. And something like that could happen to Lucas Vazquez on a much lesser extent, obviously, because Lucas Vazquez isn't a right back, and two, Lucas Vazquez isn't as good as Marcelo. So yeah, I was disappointed with Lucas Vazquez's performance, but there isn't much we can come to expect of him at his age right now. We've signed him on a contract to 24, I believe, which is next year. Hopefully, next year. I don't know when the new right back's coming, because I don't think Real Madrid will activate Vinicius Tobias's loan clause. I don't think they'll buy Vinicius Tobias. I really don't, because if Carlo Ancelotti had given him some opportunities, which I'd have loved to see, then I reckon they would have tried. They would have given him some opportunity to succeed. But it's just he's destined to fail, because he's just been put at Castilla, and ultimately at the end of the day he's going to go back to Shakhtar, and I reckon he's going to be absolutely fantastic for Shakhtar Donetsk in the next few years, and I think he's going to be absolutely fantastic. He's going to be bought by some good side, maybe Benfica, Porto, and then he's going to show Real Madrid what they could have missed out on. And ultimately, I think that's what's going to happen with Vinicius Tobias, because there is definitely potential there. There's a potential for him to be, top one of the best in the world, because his attacking capability is so good. He is so good dribbling wise. He's so good at just getting forward and progressing the ball. And he can improve defensively. Yeah, he can improve his crossing. But this guy is a right winger or a right back, and this is exactly what we needed in this time. La Liga's done. I hope Carlo Ancelotti understands that, and I hope Barcelona win today. Just to make sure that Carlo Ancelotti, and ultimately I would say that Barcelona, I would love them to lose as of always, but I hope they win just to make sure that Carlo Ancelotti gets it into his head that we've lost the league. Let's play some youngsters now. Let's play Arribas. Let's try Alvaro Rodriguez from the beginning. Let's play Vinicius Ceballos, because I want to see that. I want to see that happen, and I want to see that because next season, if Carlo Ancelotti isn't here, he could help the next manager by playing these players and seeing what they've got to offer. So let's see what happens at the end of the day. Let's see what happens, because these young players in the 2021 season, if we go back to then, Zizou played loads of youngsters. Marvin Park played, Miguel Gutierrez played, and then who else played? Victor Chust. They all played. Antonio Blanco. All these guys played, and we at the end of the day we were only 1 point behind Atleti at the end of the day, and that shows that these players are more than adept. That was considered a poor crop of Real Madrid players. Real Madrid youth players. We have got a real golden generation right now of Castilla players that could gain promotion this year to the Segunda, and Carlo Ancelotti is just not giving them an opportunity. Even Alvaro Rodriguez is not getting the opportunity anymore. I don't understand what's Alvaro Rodriguez done, because at the end of the day, I understand if you're not going to play him, if you're going to play him final 5 minutes, yeah, just play in Castilla. But if you can 100% give him more minutes than that, you can give him half an hour, 45 minutes to play, and ultimately it wouldn't cost us too much in terms of La Liga. And as much as you can say that we want Castilla to get promotion, the point of Castilla is to serve Real Madrid, and if it isn't doing that, what's the point? We can want to get Castilla into Segunda, but there's no point of getting into the Segunda if it's not serving Real Madrid any use. So you give these youngsters some opportunities in the first team, because Arribas, he scored in the World Cup, in the Club World Cup, 1 minute he had on the pitch, and he scored 1 goal. There is literally nothing else that guy could have done in that minute, and suddenly he's still not getting the minutes. I mean, he's probably going to get sold this summer, because he has to go somewhere this summer. Let's see what happens to Sergio Arribas. Elsewhere, I think talk about Dani Ceballos. I mean, this guy's playing so well. Every time this guy plays, I think he's a top player. I think he needs that renewal, because I've seen a lot of rumours that Arsenal are circling, Bayern, Juve, they're all circling around Dani Ceballos, and if we let him go to the likes of Bayern and Juventus and Arsenal, it would be such a waste. It will be such a waste of our ability, because right now it looks like Dani Ceballos ain't playing much. He's not going to be much in terms of Real Madrid, but 2 years down the line, Modric and Kroos ain't going to be here, and suddenly you're looking at midfield three of Tchouaméni, Valverde, Camavinga, and then you've got no backup midfielders. You literally have no backup midfielders. You need players like Dani Ceballos to be there and maybe Gabri Vega as well to be here and serve us as a backup. Playing some loads of good minutes in La Liga, helping us so that these guys in the main three can play Champions League minutes. So let's see what happens with Dani Ceballos. I would 100% renew him because every time he plays so well. In that second goal, he released a lot of pressure for Vinicius, and ultimately Vinicius. It was fantastic there because Vinicius he got forward and he just dribbled through a couple of them. And I thought Vinicius played a really nice game, but we'll talk about him later. Dani Ceballos, he deserves that contract and he deserves the assurances of minutes because I think next season you've got to tone down Modric and Kroos's minutes and one of them's going to leave, in my opinion. I think one of them will most likely leave. And it looks like due to the Copa del Rey win, possibly, if we win the Copa del Rey, I think Toni Kroos will leave. I think Toni Kroos will say, yep, that's me done. I've completed club football and, basically completed international football as well. That's me done. I'm happy with my career and see ya. That's basically, I think that's what's going to happen if we win the Copa del Rey. So as much as I think, I would love to have Toni Kroos and Luka Modric for one more season, I think we need Dani Ceballos to save next season because we're going to have to tone down their minutes no matter what. So let's see what happens in terms of that because, next season, I don't think we should sign Bellingham, but if we're not going to get anyone else, we might as well get Bellingham because it would be really annoying if this next summer is just Fran Garcia and Brahim Diaz. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens in that midfield with Dani Ceballos because I really want him to sign that contract. Elsewhere, I think Vinicius Junior. I think once again another fantastic performance from the guy. He's just mental. He is just another level. You look at other wingers in the past. I've said this a lot, midweek last week as well. Frank Ribery, Ian Robben, Eden Hazard. They all didn't have 40 plus seasons, 40 goals and assists plus seasons for more than 2 seasons. And Vinicius Junior is going to do this for his second season in a row. This guy is 22 and he's doing this already. This guy is mental. He is absolutely mental. And I'm so excited for this guy's next season because he has been our best player this season. He has been our most influential player. And as much as it's annoying that he gets involved in all the fights, he complains to the ref all the time. In terms of his footballing ability, this guy is world class. In terms of right now, I think he's top 5 in the world. I think he is on the level of Mbappe and Haaland. And if you look at the numbers, that they don't lie. He is on that level, to be totally honest. He's gonna pad up those numbers by the end of the season. Just getting those numbers in, and then you've got Chelsea as well, which I'm sure he will enjoy playing up against Reece James. He enjoys the challenge, and I think that will be a nice challenge for him. Playing up against one of the best right backs in the world. So let's see what happens with Vinicius Junior in that game as well. And then you look at other games so far. He's struggled against Juan Foyth in the past. He's really struggled against Juan Foyth, but he absolutely cooked him here. Kept going up as in Juan Foyth had a torrid time, and that's the type of performance I want to see from Vinicius Junior, where he's just cooking his opponent. I can't wait until that Mallorca game because I really want to get revenge on Mallorca because Pablo Maffeo, Raio as well, they both need to shut up because next season we're going to play Mallorca, and I really hope Maffeo and Raio stay there because I want Vinicius to get his revenge on them and dance in the middle of the Mallorca stadium. So let's see what happens there. And then Rodrigo, Benzema, I think they were both quiet. Rodrigo's finishing has been really poor in La Liga, and people don't look at it because ultimately in the Champions League his conversion rate is mental. He's fantastic in the Champions League in terms of his scoring rate in the Champions League. However, in the league he's really poor at shooting. I can't lie. And I looked a couple of days ago and at his stats, and he's only 2 goals and assists off of Bukayo Saka. Overall in all competitions, obviously, La Liga is not as hard of a league as the Premier League, but that is something to say. Rodrigo is still a fantastic player, and that's no disrespect to Saka. I think Saka's a fantastic player, but that's something. Rodrigo is very good right now, and unfortunately he didn't play that good against Villarreal. He could have done better, but that's life, isn't it? And in terms of Benzema, it looked very much like rest and recuperation Benzema in this game. He just looked like he was just saving it all for Chelsea. He wasn't running as much. He wasn't linking up as much. He just didn't look like. He didn't look like the normal Benzema. It just looked like whatever. I'm just gonna make sure that I'm ready for that Chelsea game. So I've got no problems with that, considering the fact that La Liga is pretty much over. So we'll see what happens today against Girona. Barcelona against Girona. Let's see what happens there. But I don't think Barcelona are going to trip up against Girona, despite them being a very good attacking side. I don't think Girona are good enough defensively to hold up Barcelona. So let's see what happens there. And then apart from that, I think, like I said, props to Samuel Chukwueze. I mean, he had a fantastic performance. Some big clubs going to look at that performance and they say, "Oh, this is a player who we can definitely look at for the summer." So, he might get the move this summer. Let's see what happens, because he's getting really good numbers so far. So, I think Samuel Chukwueze might deserve a transfer move in the summer. So, and then, obviously, the non-football matters in terms of this game. During the middle of the game, there was a little bit of a back and forwards between Alex Baena and Fede Valverde. It looked like a coming together. It just looked like two players. Baena just said something, just got Fede a bit mad, and it looked like the average trash talk. But after the game, it seemed like it didn't seem like Fede waited for him in the car park and absolutely battered him in the face. I mean, from that viewpoint, it looks like Fede's in the wrong. It's you don't take it out after the game. Whatever happens on that pitch, it stays on the pitch. You leave it all out on the pitch. But it seems like Fede's in the wrong there. But after the game, it came out that Baena said something about his son, who had, unfortunately, his wife had a miscarriage of his son, and that is disgusting. I mean, you can't say stuff like that on the football field. There is trash talk. There is all that on the pitch. You can say all that. I've got no problems with that, but you can't say something like that. Is taking it to another level. That is taking it too far, in my opinion. You can't say stuff like that. And I mean, if that's on the street, you'd expect that to happen, because you can't say stuff like that and not expect to get anything back. Obviously, Fede's not correct for punching him back. I mean, as much as people would say that anyone would do that in the situation, and I think most people would do that in the situation. The tense moment got the better of him, and Fede did what was right, in order to sort of support his son in his family. But he should know better than that, not to react to such stupid claims like that. Alex Baena, he's charging now, but Villarreal made a real statement by saying we're not sure that we should charge Fede for this, and we're going to leave it with Alex Baena in order to see what he does, because I think they see what's wrong with it, and they see there is no excuse for doing something like this. I mean, it was just. It was disgusting, and I think Alex Baena should, if Fede's most likely going to get fined for this, but Alex Baena should really look at his actions, because if he's going to say something like that and expect not to get hit back, then he's a total idiot, to be totally honest. And I think what else can you expect? I mean, Fede, he should know better not to react to stuff like that. I mean, it's hard not to react, but he's a future captain of Real Madrid, and stuff like that isn't going to help his case. But he just has to not react, and not let Baena get the better of him, because if he's deciding to be a total twat and say stuff like that, then and take it beyond the realms of football, then Baena should be getting a different punishment from Villarreal, from Fede Valverde, because Fede did what he thought was right in that moment, and I can't say that he was wrong in that moment either. So unfortunately, stuff like this does happen. I mean, I wish it didn't. I mean, I wish stuff like this doesn't happen, because you can say stuff like you're horrible, you're bad at football, stuff like that. That's fine. That's all good on the football field, but saying stuff like this is just taking it too far, man. It's just taking it too far. So, apart from that, I mean, there's not really much else to say about this game. Let me know your thoughts. I mean, midweek we've got Chelsea. This game does not affect the Chelsea game. Whatever happens against Chelsea, it was going to happen anyway. Whether we had won 7-0 against Villarreal or lost 7-0, the result against Chelsea was going to stay the same. But this team is a different team against Chelsea, and I don't think this result affects anything, because that Chelsea game is a complete isolation of everything else. So, yeah, let's see what happens then. We will have a Chelsea review. We may have a Chelsea preview as well. So let's see what happens there. Yeah. Apart from that is all good. So please like and subscribe today, and then I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.